In the interim, my residents have told me that they don't want to wait for the parish to get the job done. For the safety and for the security and for the peace of mind of our residents in the city of Youngsville, we've hired staff and we've rented equipment, and we are working in some of these drainage laterals as we speak to remove obvious areas of sediment buildup that would not have made a difference in the August flood event, but I do think will provide better drainage and better peace of mind in a more normal rain event. So the number two is in progress now. The third thing, and this kind of touches on what we need your help with, is we need to secure funding to accelerate the implementation of the projects that are within our city's master plan. As I mentioned, we adopted our master plan in the city of Youngsville 8 months prior to the storm event. And within that plan, there's a significant amount of drainage projects that are already identified there, including some minor adjustments to existing developments, and some are as broad as doing regional retention ponds. So it's a 10-year master plan that may have to be stretched out to 12 to 15 years funding dependent, but I'm optimistic that through these type of conversations we can secure funding to implement those projects sooner. We don't need to study them, we don't need to get complicated with them. We know what the issues are, we just need funding to get the jobs done. Next slide, please. Youngsville moving forward, our residents are moving back in every weekend. When you drive into some of the areas that have been hardest hit, you see a return to some normalcy. But I want to say that is just a facade for many of our residents. It's important for me to underscore that many of our residents are still suffering and still hurting. And although we moved very rapidly to begin the process of picking up storm debris, and although our residents moved very rapidly to get on with their sense of normalcy, our residents are still suffering and they're still hurting. Even our residents that have been able to apply for SBA loans tell me that they're maxed out and that their ability to repay is limited, because keep in mind again that this is during an awful economic time for our residents, and that the income numbers that I shared with you earlier, which are precluding us from participating in some of the already earmarked dollars, are lagging indicators in my mind. And we have a very unique situation because of the economy and how hard our residents have been hit. Southside High School, as I mentioned, is opening in August of this year, and is built to house 2,000 students. As I mentioned, that's directly across the street from the area that was most impacted, where 300 homes were flooded. The road that's going to the major road that goes to this high school is multi-jurisdictional, and the cost to do drainage improvements and reconstruction of that road to provide a safe route to school is about $4 million. And the city of Youngsville and Lafayette Parish at this point don't have the money to come together to provide that safe route to school. And frankly, I can't think of a greater infrastructure need within the parish than to provide a safe route to school there. The complex we're in here today will welcome over 395,000 visitors for spectators and players of recreational sports. We continue to grow at a tremendous pace. We're seeing fewer residential permits, and now what we're seeing is an insurgence of business and commercial permits coming into our cities. Developers are still building in new neighborhoods, are still being planned despite our decisions to raise our development standards here locally. And Youngsville continues to still be the home to the top schools in the parish. Next slide, please. So what do we need in Youngsville? If you go, okay. So this is where we really need your help with it. We talked on, and I'm encouraged to hear that the governor is making this request and this plea to the feds who are writing this program. Youngsville needs your help.